Hello and welcome to what will be the first deck video of the new expansion. So this deck video is going to be focused on Heal Haven, in particular an Elana Haven variant, which is actually fairly interesting and fairly decent, taking advantage of Elena's prayer and plenty of healing effects, along with of course some other new cards that you don't either see a lot or that are straight up new, like Holy Bell Keel, Robo Wing, and Golden Bell, all being really good new cards, of course, with Elana being its main prerogative. Everything else supports that archetype and really does help. So this video is going to be reasonably short, as we do have some quick games to look at. Most of the games get shut down really early with this deck. They don't get dragged out too much, which is actually really good. I was surprised. I expected this deck to be very grind heavy focused, but it seems to actually flow really nicely. So kicking off our first quick game here, it is against Blood. In particular, Blood is one of the easier classes to counter hard in the early game with this deck, I found. And of course, as I always mention, the first week of an expansion is a bit rough. People are experimenting, people are trying new things. Don't expect this deck to perform well after the first week. It probably will need heavy adjustment and change. I don't expect it to stay exactly the same the whole time. So with this, I decided to focus on the hair. I already have one in hand, I may as well throw one down. I didn't need to put the Golden Bell down yet, since it does give me the healing ability. I thought, why not hold on to it? We also got the Unicorn Spear, which I don't know if it looked dodgy on the recording, but definitely had a dodgy frame in that replay section. Minor bug. So they went for the Hellblaze Demon, going on the defensive. Not going to matter since we do have Unicorn Spear, which is pretty much a straight up clear here, since we may as well go for that. There's no reason not to. Holy Marksman is actually really good as well. It's a great counter against Forest and Blood. Dealing 1 damage to things really does help. It can also counter actually Shadow and Rune quite well at the moment as well, due to the fact that a lot of those are 1-drops. 1-drop 1/1 tokens, so works pretty nicely. So we went for a full bunny board. Not much Blood could do against that. That's pretty hard to counter on turn 4. But that's a pretty good way to handle it initially. Gear Snake Tamer, I've actually got a Blood video that will be going up shortly in the next probably day or two. And this is of this very similar deck actually. There's a couple of different Blood variant decks floating around that I've wanted to try, so should be interesting. But we're going to get a full wipe here on their board, and a couple extra damage to face. Plus set up a draw 2. It definitely is just a straight up better Sacred Plea Golden Bell, so it's great. Mechawing Angel, not really an issue. They basically got to sacrifice a lot to trade into this board, which is not good for them for sure. And now we lock the board down with Gem Princess while we set up for Holy Lord next turn, and we have basically lethal at this point. It's going to be almost impossible for Blood to get around this, especially without healing, so I don't expect them to retain this match at all. So it's just going to be too hard to counter from here. That's not a bad one. Steel Rod Vampire is a good option, and definitely a very strong card when it's pulled off. But on its own, it's really not a threat. So I decided to throw the Holy Lord for a little bit of fun BM there. Allows us just to take him out with a single bunny. Pretty awesome amount of damage you can deal with this deck though. It's actually pretty insane. And while we didn't pull off the crazy Elana plays that you can in that last match, we do pull off at least a small Elana in this match, which is still pretty decent. It really does just go to show that with those cards and the support that they've got, healing is actually quite potent and dangerous, so it looks really good for there. Especially that Golden Bell, I found it's quite a handy card. Holy Bell and Kill does a wonderful job as well, as I mentioned. So I went for the Golden Bell this time, focusing on draw since we don't really have anything else in our hand this time around. And having played with against the Blood deck, I thought, why not? We've already got it out, may as well take it. We did end up getting Elana though, so that's a little disappointing. I would have liked to have been able to take advantage of the Golden Bell with Elana, but hopefully by the time we do want to go for that Evo effect, our Bell will activate anyway, and it won't matter. Nice 2-3 ward and a healing. The repair mode's a wonderful, wonderful support card for Heal Haven. Can't wait to try and run this through unlimited. It should be just as interesting, hopefully. So I had a couple options here. I did decide to take the Unicorn Knight one, since this does at least leave us with a little bit of space. Odds are we should be able to remove at least a 1/1 token or something else to make room for the Elena's Prayer, which will then allow us to, of course, Elena's Prayer, Unicorn Spear, or potentially Repair Mode. However we want to kind of play this out, we have plenty of options, so it won't be an issue at all. And looking at this now, we're in a very good spot. We're going to wipe the board, heal up decently, get our Elena's Prayer on board, and set ourselves up for a very solid turn 6. Sword is another one of those crafts that doesn't deal well with healing. I find that this is a very anti-meta kind of deck at the moment. As I mentioned though, it's kind of the first day or two, so don't expect it to be too crazy going forward. I'm sure once people get used to it and find their own counters, it definitely will come down a little bit. If it doesn't though, it will stick as tier 1 and be nuts, so we'll have to wait and see how that takes place. So I did mention this was going to be a very quick video. We didn't get dragged into any late game, and that is just due to the decks that we've been facing lately. There's really not a lot going around right now that isn't just straight up aggression, and that's normal for the start of an expansion. We'll probably revisit this kind of deck, probably with some few modifications in the future, in probably the next week or so, as it is a deck I'm definitely interested in playing and doing a lot of videos on, so that should be fairly interesting for you guys, and hopefully you did enjoy it. If you did, hit the like button and subscribe. You'll find the deck list in the description below. Until next time, guys, see ya.